All right. All right, Corey, we are live.
We are live. We are ready to go. Let's get it started. But before we jump into it and get to it, Laquita, do we have a few words of promotional considerations from this week's sponsor?
Oh my goodness, guys. We have to apologize. We had one of our sponsors' last name wrong. And so, yes, it's my fault.
Yeah, it's your fault.
You know what? Let's hear a quick word from our sponsors because we are gracious. We're so excited to have you guys as sponsors. So, let's get into it. Let's see who we have here. Oh, goodness. Now we got to hope the sponsors actually play because, this was the other issue, Corey, from yesterday. So we might not be able to thank our sponsors first. I don't know.
Well, let's just keep going. We'll go ahead and jump into it. We'll get started. We'll get past all of this technical difficulties and move right along. We are ready to go, get started.
All right, guys. Welcome to another episode of A Blind Guy, His Wife.
It's another episode of A Blind Guy,
His Wife.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of A Blind Guy,
His Wife,
Their Life
Live.
We're here for you to count down the weekend. It's the weekend countdown. We're here for you every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Eastern Standard Time, 11:15 a.m.
11:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I always got to beat you to it, Corey. And I did today, the Eastern Standard Time, guys, 11:15 a.m. It's Thursday. Yesterday was Wednesday. And you know what tomorrow is. We are welcoming you to the weekend. So we've got fabulous folks here every day. And speaking of fabulous folks, we have our sponsors. We were trying to thank them, give a word from our sponsors in the very beginning. And you want to try it again, Corey?
This broadcast is brought to you in part by promotional considerations from...
that was my cue.
Let's try it again.
Oh, that's a rewind?
Rewind.
Okay.
This broadcast is brought in part to you by promotional considerations from...
viewers like you. Is that what we're saying?
I thought you were playing the broad. I thought you were going to play that.
All right, guys, let me just play it. Here it goes. Oh, wait, how did I mute them? Let's go for it. David and Christine Brooks, our supreme sponsors for this week. We are so excited to have them, as well as Bobby and Audra Collier, our fancy sponsors for this week. So we thank you guys for being sponsors. If you'd like to be a sponsor, we'll pin a note in the comment so that way you'll know how. I think that's how it works, Corey.
Right.
Or you can always go to our Buy Me a Coffee page, our blindguyhiswife.com site, all those good things. But get into it, Corey.
Well, today on this broadcast, we always introduce you to a fabulous guest that we've met in our personal and professional journeys. Today is no exception to the rules. We have a man of many talents. He's a multi-talented, massive man of masculinity. He is...
Wait a minute, that's a tongue twister. You said massive man of...
Massive man. No, he's a man of massive masculinity.
Man of massive masculinity. I see, because he's like 6 something. He's a big guy. He lifts weights and all that.
Works out. He is a musician, a professor at one of the greatest universities in the country. He is none other than Dr. Thunder.
Yeah, let's bring him in and say good morning. Good morning to you, Dr. Thunder.
Good morning.
Hey, Dr. Thunder, we are glad that you are here, and we can't wait to hear all the wonderful things you're going to share about mastering masculinity. Give us some tips on how we can all do that.
Are you ready to do that for us?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me on your show, and I appreciate your continued support on my sort of various platforms and various shows and things. You all are always in the chat and always supportive and encouraging, and so I very much appreciate that. So when you asked me to do this, it was a no-brainer. So I'm here and ready to go.
So you're ready to go. Okay, so Corey, he says he's here. I see a lot of equipment. I do see instruments. I don't see barbells, but we'll see what we get today, okay?
All right. Definitely got you.
See you soon, Dr. Thunder.
All right.
All right, this is going to be fun.
Now it's time. This broadcast is member supported by viewers like you. You can support this broadcast by remembering to bum rush the button.
Guys, that means you just simply hit the thumbs up button. That lets other people know that you enjoy this content. It'll help other people to discover this content as well. So when you hit the thumbs up button, that definitely helps. Another thing that helps is when you go to what's scrolling across the screen. And actually, Corey, what's scrolling across the screen is some of our sponsors. Every week, as we get sponsors, we are highlighting them, making sure that you know who has gone over to blindguyhiswife.com to become a sponsor for that week. So I'll definitely share that screen with you as well so that you'll know where to go for blindguyhiswife.com, what it looks like, how you'll know that you're at the right place. So it looks just like this. Blind Guy His Wife, Their Life. Corey's eyes don't work. Yes, Corey cannot see. His eyes don't work. People always ask that. Can you see shadows? Can you see a little bit?
Everybody's black to me.
Boom. There you go. So you scroll down and this is where you can check out the schedule. So you can see who's on this week. You can check out and see like everybody, what's happening and all that good stuff, or just look at the calendar. So this way you can see who the sponsors are. You can see who's on each day. You can look at a description on the calendar. It's right there. Yesterday was a great show with Donnie Goes In and XCMC. Of course, we've got Dr. Thunder today. And tomorrow, guys, we do have Ike Ogiamian. So, of course, you can check out everything right there under the schedule and then scroll on up. You can become a sponsor. You can click to see how you can become a sponsor. You can check out our sponsors. Or if you just like to give a one-time donation of support, buy us a coffee, support the production.
Click the green coffee cup and stir it up. They gave me a rubber straw today, so I can't do
it's silicone.
Silicone.
And it's yellow, like bright yellow.
Yeah, I can't do the clinker, 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 clink. So I gotta sing stir it up.
Well, that's fine, Corey. We're all out of sorts. I've got my Drum Love shirt on today. Drum Love. Yes. I'm gonna click this green coffee cup so that way I can show you how it works. A widget pops up. You can choose to buy 1 coffee, 3 coffees, support with 5 coffees. Now, Corey has been blind for 25 years. I'm going to type in 25 coffees. You can leave your name, say something nice, see who else has bought coffees. And of course, our 25 for 25 campaign is happening. 1 goal for every year that Corey has been blind. So you can always scroll down and check out those different goals as well. Corey, where do we go from here? Because people are in the chat, chatting and everything.
Let's go ahead and see what our viewers are saying right now.
All right. They don't get a sneak peek at the plant-based treat?
Nah, we'll make them wait.
Ah, okay. Well, Coach Remy, boom.
Coach Remy in the house. Hey, Remy, work out.
Coach Remy, our personal workout coach. Coach Remy, you're going to love this today because Dr. Thunder is a musician, but he is a fitness guy as well. And so he power lifts and all those good things, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He
does weight training.
Because I don't know if it's called, if you lift weights, if it's called powerlifting or if it's just called weight training or
weight training. Powerlifting is when you're competing to do like heavy lifting, like see how much weight you can squat, or bench press, or power lift, or power clean, I should say, or deadlift. So
power clean.
Yeah.
Look at Dr. Thunder in the chat. Come on, let's go.
All right, Dr. Thunder.
Yes. David Hunt says, first to say that I've had my banana today. Boom.
David Hunt in the house, another musician. He has great morning meditation music. He sings, he plays the piano.
He plays lots of instruments too. Stringed instruments, and I don't know which horns he plays, but
check out David Hunt's channel because he was born by the river.
Where's the mute button? All right. So let David sing that. David has an amazing voice. And then we also have Coach Remy in there chatting it up with David Hunt, saying hello, talking about David Hunt. Indeed, that is a very creative way of being first. You know what? Coach Remy be throwing some shade. Yeah. Coach Remy is over there in Belgium, but you guys can access him any day of the week. He usually goes live 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, which is 6 p.m. Belgium time, or 5 p.m. 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
I forget. Well, just do the math, guys. I don't know. Look it up on Google. Look at our sponsor in here, Audra. We don't want
Audra Collier. Now, Audra, just so that you know, I questioned that when I was asked about that.
Guys, let me tell you something. This is a week of masculinity. Women, the men want you to listen to them.
Fall back.
They want you to,
fall back.
consider what they're saying.
Fall back.
Look, I can't even lie. Listen to him. Listen to him, okay? If it's your brother, because the men, this is what the men do. They'll tell you something. And then when you don't listen, they're like, she'll see. And they don't press it. As girls will like, didn't I say, don't you remember? And we'll press it to get you right. Nope, the guys will let you fall on your face and then they'll be like, bet you won't do that again.
Yep.
And they don't rub it in like, us ladies will be like, see, what if you would have listened to me? No, Corey was just like, yeah, I thought that was it. And I felt like I saw a smile at the corner of his lips. But anyways, guys, Audra, thank you so much for being here. Listen to me. Oh, shoot. Now here's XDMC. He says, one love, family. I know it's not Corey's fault.
Thank you, XDLC. That's right. Yeah.
They're already in here on each other's side. Let's get on to Coach Remy. He said, good morning, wonderful people. Hey, Jahari is in the house. Grand Rising.
In the house. Rastafari Jahari. Selassie, hi.
Yeah, she says, Grand Rising, family. Win Ball says, greetings all.
Win Ball in the house.
Hello to you. Phil is the birthday boy. Well, his birthday was yesterday, guys, but it's your birthday week. He's saying, grand morning all.
Philip, also a very talented musician. He can play.
He's a percussionist. Yeah,
yes,
so he's going to love this show as well. Let's see. Coach Remy Fitness is chatting it up with his friends. All the guys are saying hello. Where the ladies? Audra, we need somebody else in here. You and Jahari and me. Let's see who else we can find in here. Let's see. Oh, thank you so much. Coach Remy says he liked it. When Ball says he liked it. And Jahari is asking, is coffee your only beverage of choice or do you drink tea?
We drink tea, but Buy Me a Coffee is just a platform. That's a fun name for a donation platform called Buy Me a Coffee. So yeah, we do drink tea. We drink lots of things that we're not going to discuss on the air. Now, I like a cold beer every now and then. So yeah, we drink other things.
Yeah.
But, Buy Me a Beer just doesn't sound too good. So we
I know.
Buy Me a Coffee.
Right. The name of the platform, just like Patreon is a fundraising platform, GoFundMe. This one is called Buy Me a Coffee. And so of course it's a monetary tip, sort of like a tip jar. Buy me a coffee.
Not actually coffee you're sending us. So yeah.
Absolutely. However, we do drink our coffee every day. And the plant-based treat today does not have coffee in it. I was going to say I could share the breakfast coffee. Anyways, listen to Coach Remy talking about Corey is right. Oh my goodness. Guys, let's put a hashtag in here. Let's see who's going to get the first place pony bragging rights, because everybody wants first place pony since Coach Remy was first, but you guys want the bragging rights. Corey, what can we put in there?
Hashtag Corey was right.
No, that's too long.
No.
Hashtag, well, Dr. Thunder is here.
Hashtag Dr. Thunder.
Yeah, hashtag Dr. Thunder. That way, now you do have to spell out DOCTOR. You do have to spell out the word doctor. So that way, when it comes in, Dr. Thunder will be spelled properly and you guys can get your bragging rights for first place pony. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like on the screen to be sure that you guys are spelling it right. I'll get through some more of the comments so we can do this giveaway. So let's see. Phil says Corey doesn't drink coffee. That's yakking his cup.
Not today.
Hey there, Ntabi is saying hello.
Real talk with Ntabi. Happy. She makes you happy. She is all the way in South Africa joining us today.
Yes, our graphic designer. Thank you so much for our logo, our intro, and all of those things. And of course, we're doing more work with her. So thank you.
Don't forget to smash that like button.
Yeah, I was watching her episode of Morning Glory when I had to come in here and kind of stop it. I think I stopped it. Oh no, I think she's still going. Let me stop it because I heard it in my ear, but I'm like, I can't listen to it if she's whispering. Hey, David Hunt says it was a wonderful show yesterday. Probably because of all the men. Today is going to be just as great with all the men. And XDMC is telling Phil that's ripple in your cup.
No, what Fran Sanford say, shampipple.
There you go.
Shampipple.
Yes, Phil is shouting out and Tavi, and Phil is laughing at the ripple. Luckily,
don't forget the hashtag Dr. Thunder.
Yes, they are getting it in there. Luckily, Jahari is saying, okay, cool, thank you. And you know what? David Hunt talking about hashtag Corey is right. See, people are chatting it up, but thank you, Jahari, for putting in what we asked, hashtag Dr. Thunder.
Hashtag
so we can
Dr. Thunder.
Yeah, so make sure it's OR because Coach Remy has ER. So make sure it's DOCTOR. And then Audra Thank you, Audra. Laquita, you are always right. Girl, you know that's the way we run it around here.
Okay, that's not what you said.
If I'm wrong, I will make Corey the one that's like, Corey, I think are you sure you didn't have something to do with it? I'm going to share in that.
A lot of that times, Mr. Corey, the men just don't care.
And you know what? Jahari is asking, is Dr. Thunder really his name? Absolutely. He does have his doctorate, and Thunder is part of his nickname from childhood. So we're going to hear more about that. But yeah, Dr. Thunder, absolutely. And so you're welcome. Definitely you're welcome for me watching The Morning Glory. It's always great to catch up. You have such great nuggets and tools on there. When I had to pause it and leave earlier, Corey, she was showing watch time, and she was explaining that when people ask questions, she'll show the screen, she'll share, and she'll answer.
Right. Gotcha.
Yes. Listen to Phil talking about now. You know the real name from the chat, Jahari. Just because he got Dr. Thunder in his chat does not mean that's his real name. We women are always right. Jahari, you should be asking, is that his real name? But anyways, I don't think it's his given name. But he is a doctor.
It's not his government.
It ain't his government. You can't put your government name out in these streets. So let's go for the giveaway, Corey. Yak Ripple.
Sham Pipple.
Yes. And so, yep, that's going to be one of the first questions we ask. She said, curious if it's a nickname. I thought so, but why? And you know, it's so funny because other people have asked him that. I watch his channel a lot, so that's how I know the answer. We'll get it for you guys. Corey, are you ready to see who's getting first place pony?
Yeah, and you got to wait till I say, and they're off.
I have to wait until you say, and they're off. All right.
My best Dr. Thunder impersonation.
Wait a minute. Is that your impression?
Yeah.
I've heard him play music. And I don't mean no harm, but you're doing that, brother, wrong.
That was more like a Dr. Nothing impression. It's time for our first place pony drawing. All the jockeys are behind the gate in position.
Put it in. If you haven't got it in, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
Bang! And they're off.
All right, let's see. Jahari, Coach Remy, Audra, Jahari, David Hunt, and Tabi, XDMC, Phil, and Tabi, Phil, XDMC, Real Talk with Tabi, David, Audrey, Coach, Audra, Coach, XDMC!
XDMC gets the crowd graduate. XDMC
is
a champion, my friend. XDMC is our first place pony with bragging rights for being one of the early birds in the comments today.
And Jahari was in there talking about I better win today.
Wow.
Dang, you know what? These guys, it's men's week, Jahari. So I guess this is what's happening, right? And so look at XDMC. I'm going to just put this on the screen. Talking about, oh, nah, that's his nighttime name. It's a word that starts with a P, Corey. It's not a nighttime. For algorithm purpose, I won't say it out loud. We tried, Jahari. She's like, ladies for the win. And look at him. Oh, yeah, you won, brother. You won. But Phil talking about he got his wrench in his hand. He about to block people if he doesn't win. At least your boy won, XDMC. Yes. So people are cheering him on. But David Hunt talking about, I'm signing off. And now Jahari is talking his language. I'm like, this is rigged. Why is XDMC telling him put that wrench to use? Now that they friends, now that he won.
Right. Yeah. And every time he's like, no, it's rigged. So yeah.
Listen to Phil talking about, you won yesterday, Jahari. And she's like, oh, yeah, okay. Go ahead and get our guest in here, Corey. Who do we have today?
Today's special guest is a man of many talents. He is a professor of music, doctor of music at Ohio State University. He is a professional musician who's traveled the world, traveled a lot of different places, including playing with the Count Basie Orchestra. He is a minister of music. He does it all when it comes to music, but he also is a men's rights activist who's going to bring us some information about what it means to be a men's rights activist and to the importance of mental health in the male population. This man that we're bringing forward to you has the physical characteristics of any superhero. He's tall. He's dark.
Ooh.
And Laquita said he's kind of handsome. And
I did.
Nah, I'm just joking. His wife said that. He is.
Hold on, wait. Why is Jahari in there talking trash? Phil, I didn't win yesterday. What you talking about? Anyways, let's get, yeah, and look at her tomorrow. Tanika won. That's right. See, that's what I say, Corey. Us ladies are always right. And even when we're wrong, we make it right.
Let me finish my introduction.
Oh, you said you try to be right. Okay. Finish the introduction.
This man, when he picks up a saxophone or any other horn instrument, Gabriel looks down and says, "Who that?" This man, he makes Louis Armstrong roll over in his grave when he starts to play. This man makes a lot of the great jazz musicians look down and smile upon him with favors because he is the almighty Thunder. He's the Thunder. Our featured guest today is Dr. Thunder.
Welcome.
Hey, how are you doing?
Hey, Dr. Thunder.
Doing great. How are you today?
I'm doing fine, and I'm doing even better now that I am on live with you all.
Hey, wonderful. We appreciate that. Go ahead, Corey. What were you going to say?
Jump right into it because I'm curious. Some of our guests are curious. What is the origins of the name Thunder?
Yes, because you've been playing music since you were a kid, but that's not the reason, right?
No, actually, the reason is much more organic. So my parents, in particular, my dad has dozens of nicknames for all of his kids, and Thunder is the only one that you'll know of mine.
Well, these folks are saying hi, Dr. T, welcome, Dr. Thunder. So, okay, we'll go with that one. We know that one. Go ahead.
So basically, Thunder came from, I grew up in an old renovated farmhouse. The house was, made in 1920 or something. And, I grew up in the country with horses and four-wheelers and go-karts and all of that. The house my parents still live in is still on a dirt road.
Wow.
And cow pasture behind the house, 80 acres. We had a deal with the local dairy farmer where we would actually take our own gallon jugs and dip into the milk where the milk was. So
right.
it was before it was homogenized and all of that. And it was funny because when we changed from that milk to whole milk, vitamin D milk, which at that time was 4%, we thought that vitamin D milk tasted like water.
Right, because it wasn't as rich.
Yeah, no, it wasn't nearly as rich. And then, since then they've changed vitamin D milk, we call whole milk, down to 3.25% milk fat. And we switched from whole milk to 2%. And then we were like, oh, this might as well be water. This is skim milk. Like that, all of that kind of stuff. So anyhow, that's so I grew up in the country, and the house that I grew up in was the floors were very hollow. And so as I would run through the house when I was 5, it was quite thunderous. It's like thump, 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 thump. And so there you go. So Thunder
was a nickname. Thunder was and so like Phil is saying, not to be confused with Thundercats,
which is actually one of my favorite cartoons from growing up.
This is a great man. Anybody that likes Thundercats, that's a great man.
You know what? I know that was a good show. I think a lot of people liked it. David Hunt is in here singing your name, Thunder, 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 dot, woo. And also Phil is saying that David Hunt, I'm trying to be good the first 19 minutes of the show. We do want to warn you, Dr. Thunder, that, we got a lot of men in here. They're friends, they're good people, and they cut up. Okay, we just gotta be honest. They cut up. Listen to David Hunt in there saying, "Yeah, I hear you, Phil. Like we're trying to be good." And Phil is also agreeing with you, like about Thundercats. He says when cartoons were real, So that's one of those. So I have a question for you. Thunder was one of your childhood nicknames. That's the only one we're going to know about today. But I know you as Dr. Thunder. And so I know that like when we head over to your website, that's what we see, Dr. Thunder. And you've got a great website here that tells us all about your gear, endorsements, your gear, fitness, different projects, recordings, videos, your books, conversations with Dr. Thunder. So that way it'll take us to your YouTube channel. Those are some of the best conversations of you with other musical professionals, your events. I know you do a live Thursday night jam session, so we'll be there tonight. And all of your social media handles are here. So I'm going to put this into the chat so that way people know that they can just find you, if they're just online and they're wondering, who is this guy? What's he all about? That's a place to start. But I do want to hear about your doctorate in music, and some of your experience, because you are a professor at Ohio State. Not where, Corey?
The Ohio State.
Oh,
there's a difference.
Is that right, Dr.? Oh, Robin
That
is
is
here,
correct.
Corey. We got another lady. Yes.
Hey, Robin.
She says, "Morning, fam," and even Phil is being nice to her.
Violet Botanical Skincare on the west side. Got a great online shop. Check her out. She was able to relieve her family's eczema with botanical formulations of her own, and she has her own product line.
Absolutely. And so we want to hear about your doctorate in music, like your musical experience growing up as a child. I know your dad was your first teacher, and I don't know if we're going to get a sample of anything, because Phil is saying, will there be a praise break in this show? I'm asking for a friend.
So yeah, I mean, I'm the director of jazz studies at the Ohio State University, and I have been at Ohio State since 2004.
Oh.
My employment at Ohio State was from a national search that they did. There were 70 applicants and 7 finalists, and I got the gig. And many thanks to the former director of jazz studies and my former boss, who's been retired for 5 or 6 years now, Dr. Ted McDaniel. And again, it's one of those things where Black folks have to advocate for each other. And something that Minister Japp, shout out to him, and I'll be interviewing him on Conversations with Dr. Thunder this fall. Something that Minister Japp has mentioned and says frequently is, he talks about the old comfortable Negro, and of course that's a pejorative. He's saying this because many of the younger folks have felt that the sort of older generations have decided that they got theirs, so they're not going to do anything to help anyone else. And that definitely was not the case with Dr. Ted McDaniel. And I interviewed Dr. Ted McDaniel on my Conversations with Dr. Thunder series. It was a very good interview. But he was very, I knew him prior to the job search, and he was totally supportive to me. I'm a tenured professor. He was part of that process, providing mentorship and a platform to develop and all of that stuff. So, that stuff is extremely important. And it seems like in jazz, you would have you'd have a lot of,
Right.
Black, musicians, Black men. You'd have a lot of Black men serving in those professor positions. But as you look around the country, you'd have to notice that there is very much a minority of Black folks teaching jazz. Really? Is that really the thing? Yeah, it really is.
So jazz is your
focus on this was academic wise.
Yes.
And but I know you also are you do gospel. You've done different types of gospel recordings or the gospel song. You administer music church. So music, but it's more to Dr. Thunder.
And I did share his YouTube channel. I had it on the screen, Corey, just so that you know, so people could kind of see some of those titles, Conversations with Dr. Thunder. They would know where to find them.
Right.
Go ahead, Corey. What were you going to say?
There's more to the man, Dr. Thunder, than just the music. And one of the things we want to unpack with you today is you are a self-proclaimed men's rights activist, and we want you to tell us what is your perspective on men's rights and how you are activists in that realm.
And you know, within that, I do want to add this. I don't know if you want to add this in your reply, because of course we have Robin in here with Violet Botanical Skincare. When you were mentioning what you were saying earlier, she says that part, Black folks need to advocate for each other. So that goes right in line with what you're saying. And David Hunt is reminding everybody to click the like button. So thank you guys if you can do that. And as well, just so that you know, we brought up that jazz is your focus, because Phil says a jazz break will suffice. But, you know, talk to us a little bit about definitely you as a men's rights activist. Yeah. And I think you were heading in that direction anyways.
Yeah. So on my website and on all of my materials, the three components of myself that I are professor, musician, and social commentator.
I see that.
And under the social commentator banner is this men's rights activism, in particular, Black men's rights activism and Black boys' rights activism. One thing about the manosphere, the Black manosphere in particular, is, of course, this segment of YouTube where a lot of these kinds of issues, we're allowed to actually speak on them with some frankness. And though if you searched for the term manosphere or red pill or, Black manosphere or Negro manosphere on Google, you'd find pages and pages of very negative sort of press, but not very much on the considerable positive sort of stuff that's going on in the space. I believe that the conversations that are happening in the Black manosphere are maybe the most important conversations that are happening, period. Very important conversations. If we can't get men and women together, if we can't figure out how to have meaningful conversation that helps to, change some of the dynamics in our community, then nothing is going to get any better. So from that sort of window, the whole men's rights activism thing that began to emerge for me, I interviewed Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, who also would describe himself the same way, also as a Black masculinist. And that is actually his scholarship. I mean, he teaches that way at the university he's at. And there's a growing number of academics that are involved in the space. Dr. Doug, one of my frequent collaborators, he's an academic. He's a great musician. And he also is involved in the space. Dr. Ronald Neal is an academic involved in the space. And as I already said, Dr. T. Hassan Johnson. But there's a number of others that are academic minded that are involved in the space. Now,
I'm on your Instagram right now, and I see that there's so many different posts with men's on them. I know yesterday you had Dr. Doug on there, Dr. Thunder and Dr. Thug. Was Adam the first simp? Interesting conversations involving men. You have so many things. I also dropped this Instagram link, but go ahead.
Yeah. And, you were just showing an interview I did with Ike Ogiamian, and Ike and I have a show called Getting Ish Done, and that show is on his channel. We've been frequent collaborators, yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of positive stuff that's happening in the space. There's a lot of
Yes.
um, leveling up. I've got a series on on YouTube called Leveling Up with Dr. Thunder, which is all about productivity, discipline, organization, networking, all of those kinds of skills. Um, One thing that I find in the Black manosphere, more than maybe the general manosphere, is that there's a lot of sort of information seeking to sort of fill a void. A lot of Black men did not have a relationship with their dad. And
Mm.
so there's a lot of content that I think is sort of seeking to impart that information. So stuff like, saving your money, learning how to invest. How do you even talk to a woman? You
Mm.
know, all of that kind of stuff, which maybe that seems like, oh, that stuff's not needed. No, that stuff is sorely needed. Sorely needed. And I noticed that Dr. Doug is in the chat. Shout out to him.
Yeah,
Dr. Doug in the
I was gonna
house.
ask you, like, okay, we, speak of the devil and they show up on the
Why you
live.
gotta be a devil?
Oh, okay, yeah. Speak of the
Speak of the angel, he flies in.
Hey, there you go.
There you go.
So good morning, beautiful people. Love you, cats. And so we got Dr. Doug is in there. And then, of course,
Yeah,
Phil is saying good morning to Dr. Doug as well.
Excuse me, Dougie Fresh. Yeah, no.
Actually, we used to call him Dougie Fresh when we was in college.
Right?
Yeah, so I know that Dr. Doug is an integral part of those conversations.
Well, I have a question too, because again, you're talking about men's rights, and you address some really good topics. And I think what it is with the Black manosphere is that it's an arena where Black men can speak openly and honestly about what their concerns are. You have examples like Kevin Samuels, and he talks a lot about relationships and Black men and Black women in relationships. You have Ike Ogiamian and yourself. You guys are talking a lot about things. I mean, you had
how to get things done, how to organize, and sort of like
even addressing fathers' rights. And you had a conversation about baby mama terrorists. I thought that was a very interesting one. And so
that's right.
So
that was a
shout out to Mr. Palmer.
Yeah, that was a good episode.
When people hear those things and they hear the words men's rights, they might be like, oh my gosh, that means, but men's rights doesn't mean activism, doesn't mean that you're stepping on women. Can you explain how the two men's rights and women's rights all go hand in hand?
And before you do that, though, I do want to say that here in the comments, people are agreeing with you. Jahari is saying, this is so true, Dr. Thunder. It's the same for our queens. Lack of fathers has a big impact on the child. I know you have a son yourself. You had a father. It's important for fathers to be in our lives. And then Phil is in there, of course, saying, now I need to listen to some Barbara Tucker. Beautiful people. So go ahead and you can continue. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'll start off by shouting my own father out, Mickey Wallace. Mickey is actually his nickname. Mm-hmm. Michael James Wallace.
Right.
Shout him out. My dad has been he's been the reason. I mean, one of the things that he taught me, of the hundreds of things that he taught me, maybe the most profound thing was not to make excuses. Right. I was not permitted to make excuses. Right. No excuses. You just have to work it out. You got to figure it out and get it done. And my dad actually did not have a relationship with his dad. And so he beat the odds. If there ever was a story of someone pulling themselves up by their own bootstraps, it's the story of my father. But he didn't use the usual excuses that you hear rappers and, former gangbangers turned, hip hop artists. Well, that was the only thing I could do in the street was to sell drugs, was to corrupt my, further corrupt my community and everything else. and then use that money as some sort of seed for a hip hop career where they continue to glorify, you know, uh, black on black violence, murder, and stuff like uh, selling drugs to to people that they grew up with and stuff like that. So he didn't make any of those kind of excuses. He did the honorable thing, and unfortunately, that's not a sexy story. It's
Yeah.
pretty boring, actually, because being a real man is boring.
Mm-hmm.
Doing the right thing is boring. Being a man of integrity is boring. Making
Yeah.
the right decisions, being, staying in your marriage, and not running off at the first opportunity. That's boring. All of that stuff is boring. But, you know, uh, doing the risky behavior, and then somehow, uh, getting yourself out of that by some miracle. That's the sexy story. So unfortunately,
Right.
the real stories don't get the kind of press that they need. But you know, uh, Ike said on a panel discussion on Mr. 1950 on his channel, and I made an appearance on that show also. Um, he talked about the sort of three sort of stages of how we sort of interact or view our fathers. So the first stage is that we idolize them,
Hmm.
right? So
Now, I
dad can
do
do
have a
no
question
wrong.
about this because I don't know if this plays a part in it. Robin is saying, I once read that Black men need to hear three things from their fathers: I love you, I'm proud of you, and I support you. And unfortunately, many men don't hear it. So I don't know if this plays into this story. I know Phil is saying his dad still does that for him. It doesn't matter. You know what? It doesn't matter that I'm the favorite out of the nine of us. I know you
Well,
said you came out from a big family, but go ahead.
yeah. So I have three siblings. My parents are still married. They're celebrating 52 years of marriage.
Oh, wow.
And uh, my parents, that they are the only ones that they have been with. They were
Mhm.
19 and 18 when they got married.
Wow. Yeah, they were young.
And again, that's a boring story,
Yeah, but it's
right?
boring. But like David Hunt said, it's an awesome conversation that needs to be said. That's just the way it is. It's boring, but it works.
Well, right. I mean, all of the thing is that if you're doing things right, then you shouldn't really have a lot of people noticing you.
Right.
And you should have a good life too. Like you're enjoying your life, but I know what you mean. You're not in the media. You're not on Front Street, is what you're saying.
Everybody doesn't know your business.
Right.
Well, I mean, people can know your business if it's for the good reasons,
Right.
but
The
we
bad
know that
business.
disproportionately, these kinds of stories are not the ones that they're interested in
Hmm.
broadcasting. I actually, so let's jump into some of the points of interest why some of the men's rights activism I think is important. So one of the issues is uh, child support.
Mm.
And again, shout out to Mr. Palmer, who's been on the front lines of I mean, he brings up so many stories consistently. These stories that get buried of all of the impropriety that's happening. 85% of custody, pretty much custody almost automatically goes to women. Now we
Mhm.
know that in the situations where the father is around, um, the father actually is a better place for the kids than going with the mother, especially for boys. If you look at the statistics, we know that this is true. But 50-50 custody still is not the default. Why is 50-50 custody not the default?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that the default is to place the kids with the mother, even though boys and girls will do better in
With the
mass, do
father.
better with the father? It doesn't
You
make a lot of
know,
sense.
And I have me it would be a double strike because I'll be a dad with a disability. So it's like, you want custody of your children, we think not.
right. They would automatically sort of discount you. This is Jahari earlier was saying this is the problem in society today. We're seeing the wrong image of life. So I really like that, the things that you're saying are based on statistics and facts of, hey, what can I do to make those statistics and facts not just statistics and facts, but a really good positive image of life. Shout out to my dad. Phil is saying, shout out Pop Quita. Shout out to my dad. I'm right along with you, Dr. Thunder. We have a wonderful dad that's just the best. Taught us a lot and is still, he and my mom are still together. Like you were saying, they just celebrated 45 years because they're both on their second marriage after losing their first spouse, each of them. And so we are a blended family, but it's just been a great ride. And we did have a boring life, but we didn't, Sizzles is in here, Corey.
Sizzles.
So we did have a boring life, and Phil is like, yeah, Dr. Thunder, I'm enjoying this boring story. Living this life is boring, but I'm enjoying it. Violet Botanical Skincare says it's not a boring story, Dr. Thunder. It's a story mainstream media it's the story that mainstream media does not want to share about Black love and families. And then we also had Audra in there saying, yep, boring, but holistically beautiful, which glory is glorious in the eyes of our Father. Now, wait a minute, Corey, because Phil is saying something about child support. He says it boils my blood as it works against the father, just taking my money and trying to tear us down. And look at Sizzles in there talking to Coach. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, about how it's like, okay, you're just taking the money and you're not necessarily honoring the person because, the child often is better off, the statistics have shown with the dad because the dad will raise them, in a certain way. I know you have a son. I know your son had a baseball game yesterday. Did he win? Did they lose? Do they keep score at that age? How did that work out?
Yeah, they don't really keep score, but I keep score.
Right.
Yep.
And he has won every game. He's won every game. He's hitting 1,000 for the season.
Wow.
And he's got 8 or 9 RBIs. They've had three games. He was lights out on third base. He was playing third base, gobbling up all the ground balls, making strong, accurate throws. And he's right at that point. He's 7, so it's coach pitch baseball. But he's right at that place where he's really starting to develop, I think, a love for the game. And he does not like to lose. He does not like losing.
He's competitive. That's good.
He's super competitive, which, if you can diffuse some of the negative stuff that can come from that, it can be a really positive kind of thing.
Nice.
But I did an episode on Thunder's Thoughts last week, called "Toxic Relationships and Male Suicide."
Yeah, I remember that with Dr. Doug, right?
With Dr. Doug, and the male suicide thing. Part of what I did was I reviewed a presentation I saw live at the CME, the Conference of Masculine Excellence, which was June 4th through the 6th in Las Vegas. It's Donovan Sharp's conference. Shout out to him. Terrence Popp, who, if I'm correct about this, I think it's today. It was either yesterday or it's going to be today. Actually, Donovan's going to be on Terrence Popp's channel, doing an interview. But anyhow, but here are a few of the stats that Terrence discussed about male suicide. Okay, so, and he's giving. I'm going to give you kind of a big picture, sort of a holistic picture of what's going on that I think disproportionately is leading to male suicide.
Mm.
First of all, we know that 75% of suicide, men and women, 75% is men.
Mm.
Okay. Again, and that's not something that gets a lot of press. I find it interesting too, different topic, but that breast cancer, which is devastating and is terrible, about as many men die from prostate cancer as
Mm.
women die from breast cancer. Okay. But you
Mhm.
don't have the sort of everybody's wearing pink, everybody's doing all of this, the National Football League is doing this, and you don't have the sort of attention and focus on that issue that you have with women. I mean, it's like you don't even hardly hear anything about prostate cancer. I mean, you
Yeah.
hear every once in a while there'd be a commercial. Hey, make sure if you're late 40s, getting into your 50s, make sure that you're getting tested. I mean, every once in a while you'll hear something like that, but you
But
don't
it's
hear
focused on the woman.
it's definitely it's a disproportionate focus on whatever women's issues are. Um, so anyhow, 50% of first marriages end in divorce,
Mm.
63% of second marriages, and 72% of third marriages. 80% are initiated by women, and 90% of the time, the men are unaware.
Oh,
So
wow.
they're surprised by oh, I just got served papers. Oh my goodness.
Right. And
um,
unlike your
80,
parents, they've been married 52 years, you said?
yes,
Yeah, because your
50.
heart is like, wow, that's beautiful.
Mhm.
Man.
So you said the men are
Uh,
getting caught off guard.
yes, 85% of women are getting custody. Uh, you know, most men go through periods of homelessness after divorce. Listen to that again. Most men
Mhm.
go through periods of homelessness. Not 20% of men, you know, 10% of men, 30% of men, which still would be a high percentage. Most men face, social isolation. So,
Wow.
uh, so you've been kicked out of your house. You're living in your car. You don't get to see your kids like you got to see them.
And it plays
Whatever
on your
friends
mental
you had,
health.
yeah, whatever friends you had in common with your spouse, they're probably disproportionately they'll probably side with her.
Hmm.
So now you don't have any friends.
You do make a
Families
good
all
point.
split up.
Because I've had a
Uh,
friend that left when her and her husband split up. We did still talk to her, but we didn't talk to the husband. And we've had a couple of friends where that happened. So
Mhm.
you're right. I mean, I don't know who else in the chat has experienced that as a married couple. And then when a couple split up, do you still talk to both of them? Do you still just talk to the husband? Phil is saying, when's the last time you've seen a TV show where the Black middle class family is portrayed? So we're looking at like, okay, first we got to find a family, I guess.
Mhm. Right.
Because looking at these statistics and all of this definitely, listen, it plays on your psyche, because Dr. Doug is like, true story, he's telling my story. Hey man, why you putting my business out there?
Well, yeah. So that's like what you're saying is definitely got to play a role in the increased rates of suicide amongst men. And as men, mental health is not something we typically get into and
yeah.
get comfortable about talking about. But I know you have a take on it, how important mental health is for men. So can you talk about that?
You know what? And
Yeah,
I know that
definitely.
we're wrapping up with that part, Corey. So we also have to get in our hashtag for our second giveaway while he tells us that, because just so you know, Robin did answer the question. She said we have friends who divorced, they remain friends. The ex-wives ghosted us.
Oh, wow,
It was
wow.
the opposite. So wow, that's interesting. We do have another musician in the house, Jennifer Scott.
Jay Scott in the house.
Yes,
Okay.
she's an orchestra teacher, and she also plays viola, violin, piano, and she teaches our children. Actually, she's an amazing force. And look, Phil talking about Dr. Doug. He's telling your story, yet he's looking at me. So you are resonating with the men in here.
So yes, like I said, your take on mental health, and we gotta get the hashtag is these women folks out here in these streets is crazy. Okay?
You know what? What's the hashtag so they can start putting it in?
Let's do Dr. Thunder again. Can we do that?
No.
Okay.
We got to do it different. We got to do Thunder's Thoughts. Thunder's Thoughts, because that's one of your, or do you want to do Leveling Up? You tell us, Dr. Thunder, Leveling Up or Thunder's Thoughts?
Thunder's Thoughts is good.
Hashtag Thunder's Thoughts for you enter into the next drawing.
And you don't need the apostrophe. Yeah, just put
Actually, it won't take it. It won't take the apostrophe for if you want it to be a hashtag.
That's true. Okay, so Thunder's Thoughts. Got it.
So, and this is what this drawing, Dr. Thunder is going to shout you out on his social media for being here today and winning this drawing. But go ahead, Dr. Thunder, your take on men's mental health and the importance of, getting therapy, getting counseling, and the things that you need to get past some of the things that are weighing on you as a man.
Yes, I will. Let me finish a couple of these things.
Oh, sure.
And then I'll jump right into that. So again, no support system for men. A total disillusionment with the government. So the government, of course, has sided with your ex-spouse. You're going to be paying some kind of child support, some kind of alimony. You can actually do time in jail for not paying. I thought we did away with debtor's prison. I thought that was what 70%. And check this out: 70% of Iraq veterans returned to divorce.
Wow! So they came back to a divorce.
70%.
Like
That's
when
right.
they came back, she'd already filed. Wow!
Right. A bad husband does not equal a bad father.
So true.
Right. And so don't penalize the kids. So anyhow, the mental health thing. Now what happens in this scenario and what is driving a lot of men to suicide is that they are totally alienated, and you spend all this time building your family, getting your house together, getting all of this stuff together, and then without even having to have a reason, because no fault, right?
Yeah.
No fault divorce, without even having to have a reason or being able to say, look, this person did X, Y, and Z. That's a violation of the contract, whatever. They don't even have to do that. They can just say, hey, I'm not happy. That, it's just, all right. So I'm gonna tell a story, going into the mental health thing. I'm a mental health advocate also, and I advocate for people going to counseling.
Right.
And my advocacy for that is not unlike Kevin Samuels, who I think is most responsible for there's starting to become the shift in the way that men and women, I think, Black men and women are viewing counseling,
right.
therapy. So shout out to him for that. But I make the same suggestion: is it's not a cop out to get therapy. And I know I went through a really challenging time. I was dealing with anxiety, panic attacks, insomnia, all stacked on top of each other. And it was due to a significant stress event, but also I think I may be genetically predisposed to that, because I have some family history that of folks that suffer from depression or anxiety. And depression and anxiety are sort of like opposite sides of the same coin.
Wow.
And often the case is some of the medication will be in common prescribing for each of those.
You know,
And
when you say that, I just want to say this here. You were saying, family history, and I know that Robin was asking, like, do you think it's part of the systematic or racist removal of Black men from the home and families? And Phil is saying, yep, that started in the 60s. She's like, it's just so sad. It's infuriating. But I know that, your parents were, younger in that time where you had the 60s and different things happening. I don't know if the oppression, the societal oppressions, and of course, we've had this for generations. You know what I mean? I don't know if that was a part of it, but either way, your point is that this is the way it's played out now, and these are the ways that we can manage it now for ourselves.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that Black men face that is going to be more intense than other
Mm.
folks,
Right.
and that's just a fact. I mean, that's not. I'm not. That doesn't necessarily align me with a particular uh, political party or something. That's just reading the facts. That's just
Hmm.
looking at the statistics. It's looking at stuff like mass incarceration, Black men. It's disproportionate police brutality against Black men.
Hmm.
Um, it's looking at stuff like the feminization of the education system, where 93% of the class presidents and valedictorians in high school are female. Only 7% are men. Okay, and and I don't understand how you can have such slanted statistics and people
Right.
just totally just ignore and act like this is not an issue. And then when people speak up, when men are like, look, we're being disenfranchised. I mean, look,
Yeah.
the feminists that are battling back against some of the sort of talking points and some of the issues that the men's rights activists bring up. But what about your sons? You do
Hmm.
know that boys will grow up to be men.
Hmm.
So if you're ignoring these issues because you have some sort of political agenda, you are only hurting your sons. You're hurting your own kids by refusing to acknowledge this stuff and you know being willing to have conversations and trying to strategize, trying to
Hmm.
figure out a way to fix a lot of these issues.
Right.
And that's the importance of the mental health, because mental health isn't just it's part of it is going to seek professional help, but also, like you said, having that network of people that can have these meaningful conversations with one another to move us forward, so we can get beyond the point of what all the things that are wrong with us and get to what's right with us by having those meaningful conversations and learning from each other and not being polarized by politics. So
Yeah. You
definitely, I
and
hear what you're saying.
speaking of which, Phil is saying, do you believe medication is necessary? I know you spoke about that, managing it the different in different ways with talk therapy, with medication if necessary. And so I know that's a part of it. Phil is also in there, Corey, talking trash, just so that you know. Remember I was mentioning earlier that Jennifer Scott is the music teacher. So Juliet Ambale won the music lesson, virtual music lesson. So Juliet's in Nigeria. She says, "Hello, beautiful people. My daughter just finished the gift session with Jennifer Scott that we got from Intabi." Because remember, Intabi
Right.
won
And she
and she
gifted it
gifted
too.
it. Yes. And she says, "Just thought to say thank you once again, beautiful people." And so, of course, they're chatting back and forth. And Juliet is like, and Tabi is saying, "That's lovely." And they Phil is trying, so Juliet is like, "Yes, thank you again." And then Phil is saying, "I actually won." They just spelled my name in Tabi.
Right.
So here's the thing too. Speaking of medication and mental health, Coach Remy says one could start with natural remedies like physical activities to reduce and relieve the body with stress. And then we also Phil is like, "Yep, that's true." And then Sanal was saying, my mom was mentally ill. I learned that she needed a host of therapy options, including art, to help her stay healthy. So, there's a lot of different resources. Go ahead, Dr. Thunder.
Yeah, so all of the above. So, and it depends on what we're talking about. So, when I said I had some family history, so I have been a fitness advocate, and I've been a training since I was 14. I'm
Mhm.
46, and so that has been a big part of my life, and it's been a much needed stress reliever. And I'll tell you the two things that I missed at the beginning of the pandemic. I'm in Ohio, and I suppose there has been some benefits of living in a red state, and that is that there's a critical mass of folks that would not allow the government to keep certain kinds of things closed for an extended
Mm,
period of time. Also, we were not particularly hit hard.
right.
Um, so the so one of the issues, or I'm sorry, so the two things that I missed the most was the first 2 months of the pandemic when the gym wasn't open, and then the second thing was, of course, uh, playing live concerts.
Mm,
And
right.
and then having some of those sort of ongoing conversations with bandmates that don't require setup.
Hmm.
You just kind of you begin in the middle of the you know of the story, and they remember from the last gig, uh,
Mhm.
what the beginning of the story was. That kind
Right.
of stuff.
Right.
Um, but I had so I finished my doctorate. What is it? A couple years ago, and during the time that I was doing my doctorate, I was, uh, you know, director of jazz studies at Ohio State. Was working at a church 25 hours as a creative director, 25 hours a week. I
Wow.
was, uh, my son had just been born.
Hmm.
Um, uh, I was, obviously married. The school that I was going to, I had a full assistantship at, and I was driving 2 hours one way 3 times a week. So that's 12 hours in the car
Man.
a week. Plus, of course, professional musician,
Yep.
working out also, but professional musician, touring with the Count Basie Orchestra, playing with the Columbus Jazz Orchestra, um, playing with my own groups, writing music, arranging all of the stuff that you have to do,
Yeah.
um, to
Putting in all the work.
putting in all the work. And I think what happened is I got beyond a sort of whatever that breaking point line was. And my fight or flight was stuck on. And so I had been grinding so hard for a period of time that was kind of got beyond what was probably healthy for me.
Hmm.
And so when I went in to do my final, capstone for my degree, the oral in comprehensive exam. Of course, maybe the day before that, I had a hard time sleeping, and it makes sense because you have a lot of, you got a lot into that. A lot of time was devoted, so you're pretty nervous. So, okay, that made sense. But after they told me, "Congratulations, Doctor," you know, Doctor Wallace, you
Right.
know, uh, and so everything was done. That's when I actually stopped being able to sleep.
Mm.
Oh, because you were
Uh,
like going full
yeah,
steam for so
I couldn't slow
long.
down.
Right.
Right.
And then from what you're saying, and we were sharing the screen of him playing music, Corey, and
Mm.
weightlifting. And Phil was like, hey, can we win a jam session with Dr. Thunder and with this next drawing? And of course, Coach, he lifts weights a lot of times in his workout sessions. And he's like, yeah, a weightlifting with Dr. Thunder. So here's Phil, like, let's get both. So I think we are
Uh,
ready for our next drawing, which currently is a shout out I don't know what Dr. Thunder will do as far as adding anything else. However, I do want to mention tonight. Today is Thursday, and you guys will be streaming tonight, right, on your channel.
That's right. That is right. So I have my second Thursday's Dr. Thunder Quartet live stream. It's live streamed from Blue Note Jazz Cafe in Ohio, in Columbus. If you want to try to make it to the venue, that's great. If you can't make it to the venue, then it'll be live streamed to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. That is 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there's actually already the live stream schedule thing has already been posted. You should be able to find that on my YouTube channel or on my Facebook, or there's a variety of ways to find that.
Definitely make sure tonight you go and check out the Dr. Thunder's live stream. And this man is a fabulous musician, and I always love when he plays the saxophone because he makes that thing talk to you. So definitely get in there, get your nice glass of wine, sit back and relax, put your feet up, cuddle up with your baby, your honey baby sugar pie, and listen to some great jazz music with Dr. Thunder tonight.
Now, I did just drop your YouTube channel into the chat again because people want to win. We've got Violet Botanical Skincare in here saying, ladies for the win. The ladies are trying to win.
No, Dr. Thunder's a men's rights activist. Men for the win.
So we have some people that have put that in there. So Nalv is saying, thank you for sharing your story. Hubby and I have been grinding so hard for our business and to complete our individual master's degrees that we overwhelmed ourselves. This is why we started farming. Wow. Jahari is shouting out for the ladies to win. However, Phil is saying if Dr. Thunder agrees to both of those giveaways, he's blocking everybody so that he can be the only person that wins. So we also have Sanal in here saying you bring up a great point that changing your lifestyle can often be the best solution to heal yourself. So when Ball is in there, hey there, get your hashtag Thunder's Thoughts in there because we're about to do
Thunder's Thoughts, no apostrophe.
Yes, we're about to do this last giveaway. So he's going to shout you out on his social media. You guys saw that he's everywhere and he's active. Facebook. He's actually on SoundCloud too. So I'll make sure I drop his SoundCloud link in there. So that way, for those of you wondering if you can get a preview before you go to tonight's jazz session, before you tune in, definitely, head over to SoundCloud if that's one of the platforms that you want to use to do so. So Dr. Thunder, do you have any, somebody was asking for a praise break. His birthday was yesterday. I know you've got sound effects. Do you have any live music or would you only be able to say, ready, set, go today?
He can give us a 1, a 2. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, he could bring it. Oh, he could count us in that way.
Right.
Oh, we do have one more question. Dr. Thunder, is your son musically inclined?
Yeah, that's interesting. Let me finish the story about the mental health thing.
Oh, sure.
And then I'll answer that question. So the solution ended up being, well, first of all, I wasn't able to sleep for about a month and a half. And when I say, what was about 2 months actually, when I say I couldn't sleep, I wasn't saying that, I'm used to getting 8 hours and I just wasn't getting my 8 hours. And so I didn't feel as rested as I wanted to. I'm saying that I wasn't sleeping. I'm saying that I was up all night pacing, walking around. I was having constant panic attacks. I tried to lay down to go to sleep and I couldn't even lay down because I immediately started having a panic attack, and it just kept getting worse and worse. And that's when I went to a counselor, and they asked me some questions about family history, which I did not consider. And then also we talked through some other things, which was very helpful. And in addition to that, I will admit that I did get on some medication, but I was only on the medication for a short period of time until I was able to get the sleeping to start sleeping again. Because if you're if you're having issues with anxiety, panic attacks, and insomnia, everything adds to everything else, and you're never going to be able to sleep. And so I had to get that to start getting some sleep. And once I started getting some sleep, I started implementing some specific sleeping, a sleeping, what do you call it? Basically a
Like a
procedure,
routine.
something,
Mm-hmm.
a routine
Like a
that I would go
schedule.
through every time, right? Every time before I go to bed. First of all, I made sure it was the same time. Secondly, it was the same exact routine that I went through. And, I've never had to do that in my life. But
Right.
to this day, I still do that very consistently. Because if I don't, and then I start getting a couple days in a row where I'm not sleeping well, I can start to feel myself getting anxious again.
Right.
But definitely working out, stuff like diet, not having caffeine, past a certain time in the day.
Mm-hmm.
There's a list of things that I started paying a lot better attention to because of the counseling, and it really helped. I mean, I think I only went to like 2 or 3 counseling appointments,
Mm-hmm.
but
Before you
those
started seeing results.
before I started seeing results.
Wonderful. Speaking of results, Derek Waldo is in here. Shout out to one of my favorite cousins, Derek. He's a bodybuilder. And so, when you talk about lifting weights and everything, this guy has some muscle. I remember when he was 3, like we got pictures, when we were kids.
This was Derek.
Yeah, he was
15.
Yeah, this was him, this little straw right here. And now he's
Mhm.
a big guy. He's like, hey, I'm chilling, cuzzo, because Phil is like, hey, what's good? Sanal is also saying the sleeping also causes other health issues like heart attacks and stroke. However, we
Yep.
often look not sleeping as an important health issue. So I really appreciate you all bringing in input, and solutions to this. Look at Derek. He's in there laughing, Corey, at us talking about how scrawny he was, right? I mean, this guy, and he's an amazing father. He's all of those things that you talk about. He spends time with his daughter, is raising her, and all of those wonderful things. And we're so proud of him, and we love him for that. And it's great that we have these resources such as the ones that you're providing to experienced men in conversations and talking about leveling up and talking about whatever it is that men want to talk about instead of what ladies want to talk about.
Giving us that space to actually talk men talk, that barbershop space that a lot of times is faded back where, in the barbershop, the men get together, they talk trash, they talk cash, and they talk a whole lot of other things, but they also get a lot of wisdom and insight from older people in those circles. So you're even though you're not a barber, you're providing that, unless you are, you're providing that service through Thunder's thoughts and conversations with Dr. Thunder. So we definitely appreciate you out there in the manosphere. And we're going to get the drawing kicked off, and then we're going to ask you to leave us with one of Thunder's thoughts on what can we do as far as,
No, I thought it was how many fruits and vegetables he had today, because that's the last question for the plant-based treats.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So we're going to leave you with Thunder's thoughts of how many fruits and vegetables have you eaten today?
But wait, before you answer that question.
Here, let me answer the one question about my son, if he's musically inclined.
That's right.
Okay,
yeah.
and then I'll answer the if I had any fruits and vegetables yet. Okay, so I was obviously a strange kid. When I think about and when I see what a normal kid is like, I realize how weird I was. I started playing when I was 6, the saxophone. And my dad was my teacher until I went to college. All I wanted to do was play the instrument. Right. So that's a weird thing. And I was really like focused in, I was practicing a lot of hours. As soon as I could physically handle it, I was practicing a lot of hours every day. And they had to hide the instrument from me so that I would go outside.
Oh, wow.
And do other things. They didn't want me to be this, weirdo that's been in the closet for, several years with no interaction with people and stuff like that.
Yeah, and
So I was,
especially with you growing up out there with all that open space and
Mhm.
really having the chance to experience that, they're like, wait a minute,
Right.
what are you doing in here? I know that
Yeah,
he was a teacher, Corey, teaching kids while he was a kid. That's how serious he was. But anyways,
Wow.
go ahead.
yeah, and so that's not usual. It's not normal, and I can't take any credit for it. It's not a brag. It's just what it was. I was
Hmm,
just oriented in what I was just wired that way.
right.
Um, and my son is more normal, so he's more into, you know, sports and rough stuff and video games and um, you know uh, you know friends and all of that kind of stuff, riding his bike,
Mhm.
his scooter. He's constantly talking about, man, I want a motorbike. He's all into that kind of stuff, and
Right.
he's a usual boy that is pretty kind of all over the place. Like he's not,
Hmm.
he's not like, okay, I'm just going to do this one thing. No, he gets bored with stuff and he wants to do a bunch of other stuff. He's
Yeah.
like most kids are that are 7. And when I look at him, it makes me realize how kind of weird and unusual I was, because he's more normal. And now I'm saying that to say that there's instruments all around the house. If he ever decides that that's what he wants to do, then of course it's all here. I
Right.
bought him a guitar. He's got a pedal board and an amplifier. He's got a set of drums. Um here's a this is his P trumpet right here. Um,
Oh, it's blue.
right, and so all of the stuff is here. And from time to time he'll ask about doing something music wise, and when he was younger he did it a little more often. But
Hmm.
you know he's
Now
going
he's
to
got
have to do
other
something.
interests.
Yeah, once he gets to the age where there's going to be band in school, he's going to have to participate in that until he gets done with high school. At that
Right.
point, after that, then he doesn't have to do anything with it if that's not what he wanted to do. But my wife is a dancer and choreographer. She has her own dance company. So
Hmm.
he's been constantly going to um, musical events and rehearsals and dance rehearsals and all kinds of stuff
Right. It's
since
part of his
since
life.
yeah, since before he was aware.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, same with our kids. I definitely wanna mention what the people in the chat are talking about, because earlier Coach Remy was talking about sleeping, how it's so important to the body because it's during sleeping that the body will fully restore and replenish itself. So
That's
we
right.
definitely have to make sure we get in our sleep as well as our fruits and vegetables. So we're coming to your question, Dr. Thunder. How many fruits and vegetables have you had today? Because everybody else is in there saying, I had grapefruit, Sanal. And she also asked, is grapefruit, is oatmeal a vegetable? I had oatmeal too. But, Coach Remy told her, oats and cereals, you're good. Whole foods like grains and nuts and seeds are great. And Phil claims he's going to have peaches, Corey, your nickname.
Ah.
Honeydew and watermelon. And Coach Remy did drink infused water. He had a banana. Let's see. Sanal knows now that that's a grain. And then, you know what? Coach Remy is saying that oatmeal is always his favorite first meal of the day. Oh, listen to Sanal. She's talking about how I feel. You went to high school with me. That was my nickname in high school. Peaches. She's eating a grapefruit now. So we also have Phil saying, "Did you have the grapefruit in your oatmeal?"
Ugh.
We also have
Mm.
Kingdom Minded 1121 in here saying, "I love your love for each other." Blind guy, his wife, their life. Thank you so
Thank
much, Kingdom
you.
Minded. Thank you for being here as well. It's your turn to answer because David Hunt is saying he had a banana. Tell us how
You
many
know, there's
fruits and vegetables before we do our giveaway?
I haven't eaten any yet, but I
Oh,
but I intend to. My breakfast is usually my son is we eat a bowl of cereal together. I tend to eat
mhm.
something that's whole grain for that, and then usually I would be at the gym right now, or I would have been at the gym during the time that we did this, and then by this time I would be eating a chicken salad with eggs and a bunch of high protein kind of stuff, and then I love grapefruit. I eat grapefruit frequently. I probably don't get as much green stuff as I should, but I do eat. I have been eating more salads, and I use like a spring mix with also spinach for the green stuff.
Right.
But
these folks in here are getting it in. You got to catch up. Audra says she had oatmeal, peach, watermelon, blackberries, and Phil Corey was saying, "Hey, Supernova, did you do this? Supernova?" And she's talking about Supernova was my nickname in high school. You know what? She had all the names, huh? And he's also asking, was it a whole banana, David Hunt? I'm telling you, Dr. Thunder, you got to catch up. Juliet, she's over there in Nigeria saying she had strawberry, grapes, apples, bananas, yogurt. And Jahari is giving you a tip. She says, just eat watermelon with frozen lemon and lime peel and juice squeezed over it. So, that's a good way to go. Look at Coach Remy talking trash, because Phil asked, was it a whole banana, David Hunt? And then Coach Remy talking about it was the banana flavor. So, oatmeal is definitely good for lowering cholesterol. It's her favorite first meal too for Sanal. So maybe a bowl of cereal could be your oatmeal, but we got to get the giveaway in. We need you to give us the count in to the giveaway so that you can shout somebody out and we can finish up with our plant-based treat.
Okay, so who am I supposed to shout out?
We're about to find out now.
Whoever wins this giveaway. Okay. So once you say ready, set, go, or a 1, a 2, a jazz intro, right, we'll get it going. I'll click the button.
All right, 1, 2, a 1, 2, ready, go.
All right, let's see who's going to win. David Hunt, Audra Sanal, Audra, Coach Remy, Phil, Audra, Violet Botanical, Audra, Coach Remy, David, Audra, David, Phil, Coach Remy, Audra, Phil, Violet Botanical, Phil, Coach Remy, hey! A man after your own heart.
Yeah, Coach Remy.
Right, shout out to Coach Remy.
All right, so Dr. Thunder will be shouting you out on his social media, Coach Remy, all the way in Belgium, so people can check Coach Remy out to work out. And this has been a fantastic conversation with Dr. Thunder.
Why is Sanal in there talking about Sanal won? And Jahari says she just ate watermelon and lemon lime peeled with the juice squeezed over it. She's going to have apples with peanut butter next.
All right.
Lots of suggestions for you, Dr. Thunder. Peanut butter, you got that protein in there. This is great.
But don't forget to check out Conversations with Dr. Thunder and Leveling Up with Dr. Thunder on YouTube.
Wait, why is Violet Botanical talking about this is rigged?
A great place for men to hear from other men about what men are thinking and what men want to say, but don't a lot of times have the space to say it. That's what the Black Manosphere is all about. So check out Dr. Thunder, his Thunder's Thoughts, and Conversations with Dr. Thunder and Leveling Up with Dr. Thunder. So we appreciate your time, Dr. Thunder. We're going to get you to hang out with us just a little while so we can talk to you after the broadcast is over as we go into our plant-based treat.
Yep, we'll be done in just a moment. So we'll see you soon, all right?
See ya.
All right, cool. This has been so much fun, Corey, but the people are still talking. Phil is saying, congratulations, Coach Remy. Now I'm blocking everybody. Jahari is giving tips. Sanal is booing the people. And Coach Remy, I know Coach Remy is happy talking about, oh, Phil, you used the wrench in my favor. So let's get into the plant-based rigged. No, that's Jahari. You know what? We are just corrupting everybody because, like I said, Coach Remy is saying you use the wrench in my favor, but he's also saying thank you so much, Dr. Thunder. The talk was so interesting. Phil is saying the same thing in there. Violet Botanical, same thing. Thank you, Dr. Thunder, for our knowledge. So they're good sports in the end.
And now it's time for today's plant-based treat with Chef LaQuita Marie.
Easy 3-step chocolate pudding. Step 1, gather ingredients.
Avocados, cacao powder, salt, coconut cream, and table syrup. Do the same thing with this one. Avocado helps weight loss, reduces blood sugar spikes, and is strongly linked to lower risk of many diseases. It's also high in heart-healthy fatty acid. Using table syrup because I did not have the agave nectar. Cooking with Greens brand, the pink Himalayan salt. This salt contains iodine. Iodine helps generate body heat, and not having enough iodine may make it difficult to learn and remember and might prevent hair follicles from regenerating. 3/4 of a cup of our cacao. Cacao powder has more calcium than cow's milk, densely packed with iron, magnesium, and antioxidants, and can help with stress, depression, blood pressure, and asthma. I'm going to add my heavy cream, coconut cream. Coconut cream is packed with the antioxidants vitamin C and E. Vitamin C encourages tissue growth and repair, and vitamin E protects healthy tissues from free radical damage or cancer cells. Drizzle in our coconut cream. Let's try it. I'm just going to sprinkle in a little bit of nutmeg. Nutmeg relieves pain, calms indigestion, helps cognitive function, and reduces insomnia. It's used in toothpaste and helps oral conditions.
I really liked the pudding. It was sweet, creamy, even without the whipped cream.
I really love this pudding. I like chocolate, and this had a really deep chocolate flavor, and it was nice and creamy and smooth, and it was better than any store-bought pudding you could ever get. All right, guys, that does it for this episode of The Blind Guy.
His wife.
Their Life
Live.
Join us tomorrow as we continue to have this powerful men's week with Ike Ogiyamian, as he is going to bring us he's a master engineer, bringing us lots of tips for men's success. So
he's an actual engineer out in California, but he also engineers some of everything. So definitely conversations, meditation. Oh my goodness, internet stuff.
And he's also a musician.
He definitely is. He does produce his own music as well. So maybe he'll give us some things. I don't know. We'll see. Listen to this. We've got Jahari saying this was great. Thank you, Kings. Loving this series. When Ball is in there saying thank you. You're welcome, guys. Thank you all for being here. We do appreciate you all. And Phil is asking for tips about getting that watermelon. On top of the watermelon, squeezing the lemon and lime as well as the peel. So he's like, so you put the juice on as well as the peel. Okay, we got that right. He says he's going to have a plant-based treat today, Corey.
All right.
I think somebody gave him something for his birthday.
Yes, they did.
So when Ball is clapping and everything, and Coach Remy is saying, yep, Phil, that's a gift for the body. Oh, thanks, Jahari. I'm glad that you like that chocolate pudding. It's already on our channel, so definitely check out that chocolate avocado pudding. It's
really good. It's so smooth. It's so smooth.
Yes, absolutely.
It reminds me of me.
You know what? Phil says just what I was thinking. Ladies, thank you for putting up with the guys so far this week. From that comment you just made talking about smooth like me.
I'll say this. I'll take it out smooth like Dr. Thunder.
Hey, I like it. So now is saying yum, better than any store-bought pudding. Phil is agreeing with Coach, and Coach Remy is saying thank you so much to us. Hey, and Jahari says she does love chocolata. Phil is saying thank you to his lovely nieces. How do we say goodbye for today, Corey?
Well, definitely don't forget to check out Dr. Thunder's channels, all his wonderful insight, but check out his live stream with Dr. Thunder's music tonight. He is going to be jamming and cooking and making it sizzle on that saxophone and other instruments that he might pull out. You never know what he's going to pull out of the bag on those nights.
Yeah, head over to his YouTube channel. His band will be there. And Phil is in there saying, yep, Dr. Thunder is smooth.
Dr. Thunder is smooth.
Check the video description. Of course, his links are there as well.
So to say goodbye, since we have Dr. Thunder on, we're going to say boom and then say deuces.
Deuces.